When they asked Norman Cousins, how do you want to be remembered, he said, I want to be remembered as someone who, in helping people conquer their fear of life, help put them in touch with their resources and their own potential. That's also my hope for you today. My voices were saying, you have to do this. You better do this. The other guy, because there's always two, is saying, hey, forget about it. Forget it. Ain't no way you're going to get me to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. Back and forth. I call them the dueling De Niros. My inner voices, the you have to versus I don't want to, forget about it, and they block up like that, and you cannot move. If you are a cup of water, you have to be afraid of losing a few drops. But if in fact you are the ocean, they can take a whole tub of water from you. It's not going to bother you. A lot of what we're going to do today is center in the present moment where there's not a lot to do, where you make yourself safe. Now, this is a very cruel thing to do to your body. This is the equivalent of pulling a fire alarm. The fire department rushes out. They're there with all of this energy, ready to save you, and they ask, well, where's the fire? And you say, oh, it happened 2 years ago. Or they rush out and they have all of this energy to help save you, and you say, oh, the fire is going to happen next week. This is a cruel thing to do to the fire department. It's a cruel thing to do to your body. I have a saying which says, there is no stress when you make yourself safe in the present moment. I get to the office, and he's looking at the x-ray and says, I got some bad news. I don't think we can do the root canal. You may lose the tooth, but let me take another x-ray just to be sure. Comes back 10 minutes later. Good news. We can do the root canal. And after 3 days of depression and inner conflict about having to do something I don't want to, I'm saying, oh, great. Let's do the root canal. Now, you're powerful and you feel excitement and release of energy. But if you try to put that energy in the past or in the future, you're going to have a lot of anxiety. Your feet are going to be shaking. Your legs are shaking. What happened to unconditional love? What happened to the bliss in the womb? What happened to the unconditional love during the first year of life? Why did it change? On one of these charts I had why. Because when you hear why, when you hear the voice why, I believe most of the time you're dealing with a 2-year-old who's saying, why, Mommy? Why don't you love me anymore? What happened to unconditional love? Why don't you give me what I want? The child doesn't necessarily need what they want, because what they actually need is to know they're heard and know they're loved. I know this story. This is your story. This is not your passion. See, this is not what could be happening now for you. This is just your story. See, is your story controlling your life? If you apply this principle, you'll save at least $25,000. The adult can be a diplomat. Diplomat works like this. When the highway patrol pulls you over, you don't curse at the highway patrol. You say, yes, officer, how can I help you? I notice that you have the gun. How can I be of assistance? You maintain your spirit and your dignity while acknowledging that someone else has an authority role to play. You don't need to bang your head against the authority. You don't need to call them names. You acknowledge it. The handle is obviously on the left. What do you say? The handle is on the left. Well, we could argue about this, right? And you could tell me it's on the right, and we could have a win-lose relationship. No, it's on the left. No, it's on the right. No, you're wrong. No, you're crazy. No, you're lying. Right? Or, in effective communication, I want to hear, for you, it's on the right. It's on the right for you. Is that correct? Yeah? Do you want to hear my perspective? You don't have to. So effective communication, I'm sorry to tell you, could end right there. Oh, it's on the right, and I got it correct. You may not want to hear my perspective. That's okay. But for me, it is on the left, and we're both right. Win-win. Okay? Of course, someone else might say you're both crazy. There's no handle at all. See? When you're in the zone, you can't lose. What does a 4-year-old say? What did you say as a 4-year-old when you drew an incredible picture, as good as Picasso? You played with some toys and you laid them out, and you made a movie out of those toys and an entire story, and a parent comes by and says, "How did you do that? My God, that's just great." What did you say? What does a 4-year-old say? I don't know. Same as the athlete. I don't know. Do I have to know? It just comes to me. We go around saying, I go to sleep. Well, there's another part of you making over 5 million new red blood cells for you every minute, giving you a whole new lining to your esophagus every week, a whole new layer of skin every 28 days. Does that part go to sleep? And who is that part? Is that the larger you? Why not expand to include that part? You are more than just your conscious mind. You are more than your ID card. So my first response, and this is what we want to notice, is to fight back. My head goes forward, I'm going to argue. I only see melody and this pressure as a problem. It's a problem, it's the enemy. And I am off center. If you move your arm, if you drop your arm, I will fall. I'm not balanced. I'm off center. If you push again. So I notice, let's say that I've taken a course called It's Your Life, Who's in Charge? And I've noticed that this is simply my default position, and I could have another position. So I want to know what would be more stable. You can keep pushing. I now connect deeper in my body. There's usually a movement of chi or hips as I connect. My back leg is straight. I transfer this pressure back down into the earth through my back leg. You can push. I exhale. I can open up this center. It's not closed. My head is back. I'm not arguing. I now want to hear what you have to say. You mean you're not going to do it? You're not going to start because some part of you doesn't feel motivated? You have a lot more time on your hands than I do, because I don't have time to wait for my ego to feel confident and motivated. You see, whenever you come in with the superego you have to voice, you're going to evoke, I don't want to. I want to be in the Garden of Eden, do what I want. And I want that accepted and loved. See? I don't want to. At that moment, I wake up and say, yes. Yes, of course you want to see the deer. Yes, that would be fun. And you know, you don't always have to do what you want. She looked at me. That was a new idea. You don't have to do what you want. You're still loved. It's still okay. It's just part of growing up. You don't always do what you want. Oh. She came down the trail, gave me her hand, simple as can be, walked to the car. And inside I'm going, this stuff really works. Oh my God, this works. But what if she insisted and said, but I really want the poison, it's sweet. Would you let her have the poison? And she said, no, of course not. And I said, I'm so sorry to tell you. which means we have to mourn and grieve. I'm so sorry to tell you, but for your body, sugar has become like a poison. And your body and that little girl need your protection. Your protection from habits, need your protection from the addiction to sugar, from the old habit. And when you choose to have sugar in the future, you can choose how much insulin to take. Because your body and that child in you need your protection and guidance. Michael Jordan said, "You're not always successful in life. I'm not always going to be successful. If I fail, I will accept it. What I will not accept is not trying. If I fail, I'm not going to feel bad. I'm strong enough as a person to accept failure. I will face it and move on." Wow. In New Jersey, we say you're connected. You got connections. You're safe. You got connections. Slightly different meaning here. But when you have connections, then you're not worried so much about the ego. It's more a sense of, this is going to be interesting because everything's taken care of. See, we're connected. You go from worry to wonder and gratitude. I'm just grateful. I'm not trying to figure out how to control it. Whew. How do I fix it? You do not get to say, "Why did you spill the milk? What's wrong with you?" Right? You see the milk is spilling and how do we clean it up? You're right in there with the paper towels. You see that? You become incredibly efficient and effective.